Since the title of this course is Building Android Apps with Kotlin, there are two core concepts that we'll be digging into. The first is Android, and the foundational pieces that all Android developers need to know, regardless of the language being used to develop the application. This includes things like how pages are created and maintained, the life cycle of applications and how to manage it, building the UI with different types of views, libraries that are specific to Android development, how resources are managed, and more. We'll also look at Kotlin on its own, while drawing comparisons to other languages, especially Java. We'll dive deeper into some of the best parts of Kotlin, like property getters and setters, and how they allow us to write less code, how Kotlin plays with other Java libraries, tools provided by the Kotlin team, JetBrains, and Google that help us write more efficient code in our applications. For those who are completely new to Kotlin, or perhaps haven't heard of it before, know you're not alone. Here's some basic information to understand about the history of Kotlin and what it is at a core level. Kotlin's a new programming language developed by a team at JetBrains that runs on the Java virtual machine. This means that it's not just a language for developing Android apps, but can replace Java anywhere it was used before. It can also be compiled down to web language to replace the use of JavaScript on the client side of web development, and even has some experimental uses for compiling to native code that can run outside the JVM completely. It was built to be more efficient than Java and allows developers to write less code that is way more useful. This saves both time and money during the development process. It's also interoperable with Java, which means you can use libraries built with Java in your Kotlin code and even use libraries written in Kotlin in your Java code. You could even write parts of your app in Kotlin and other parts in Java or C++, depending on what is more comfortable during the development process. Kotlin was inspired by other object-oriented languages that people have come to love, such as C#, Groovy, TypeScript, Java, and more. If you're familiar with any of those languages, you'll see that inspiration come through as we write more and more Kotlin code in our application. Lastly, as of spring 2017, Kotlin is now an officially supported language by Google for Android development. They have moved forward with building out great tooling to help grow the language as the forerunner in building Android apps. Together, Kotlin and Android make for a great development process, and that after this course, you'll come to see as the future of building Android apps and can save you time and headaches while building any app that comes your way. One of the best ways to learn is through building real-world examples to help put yourself in the mindset that you can follow after completing this course. Because of this, we'll be following a story of building an app that encompasses major components that most real-world apps utilize. This way you'll have a fully built project that you can reference when developing your own applications in the future, just as all of us developers do when working on new projects. So with each of these modules that come together to complete the entire course, you can expect to be introduced to new Android and Kotlin concepts and building blocks that you may or may not be familiar with. We'll then look at examples of how these concepts are implemented and different ways developers have approached these problems, along with helpful libraries from Google, JetBrains, and other third parties to help solve these problems even more easily. Finally, we'll move back to our project and implement these concepts using some of the approaches mentioned before. These ultimately help us get closer to a complete and usable application.